Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is in the lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial artist with a fight record of 3 wins and 1 loss. He fights out of Tribal MMA, Shadrack Yemba. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist with a fight record of 10 wins and 2 losses. He fights out of Quan Vessels Academy, Schulze.
Well, both these guys looking in fantastic shape at 70 kilograms. Certainly the experience goes by the way of Liam, but Shadrack Yemba, a very young and hungry, determined fighter.
Cool, calm and collected, both with very wide stances. Testing the waters is Liam. Beautiful leg kick. Oh!
Goes up high to Shadrack.
Making his intentions known from early on.
Very wide open guards from both fighters. With the body shot and got that single now, does Liam?
Beautiful single.
Yeah, good entry as well. Well, nicely timed. Shadrack does well to get back to his feet, but Liam still clasped around the back.
Yemba probably knew by, if you just watch a little bit of tape, that this is part of the game plan, and I'm pretty sure that the coaching staff at Tribal MMA would have worked with him on just basic fundamentals, getting those frames, which is doing quite well. Fighting that single leg, really taking his time, pushing that head away, slapping Liam. Liam being relentless.
Nice by Schulze, just trapping the right leg. He's let go of it now by Shadrack, but just be able to reassert himself now, just driving that left shoulder under the armpit of Shadrack Yemba, just keeping up against the fence. A good balance and defense from Shadrack Yemba, though. Liam Schulze is having to work for this takedown, that's for sure. Shadrack Yemba did well to get back up to his feet after the original takedown. And I think that's what Liam's doing very well now. Start to just wind him down, just get that clinch work up against the fence. Let's test the cardio. Let's see if we can get a couple of shots in, get some knees up the middle. Yes, fight for wrist control, but keep that left shoulder just driving through the torso of your opponent, keeping up against the fence, and now level change. Get that single, don't let go of it, see if you can sweep and take his opponent down, but still Shadrack Yemba is very difficult to take down. Some beautiful balance and very good takedown defense.
Shadrack using that little bit of a slap quite well, just like disrupting the momentum and the tempo of Liam Schulze. I would like for Shadrack just to level change a little bit more than he's doing at this stage. Beautiful takedown by Liam.
Yeah, textbook double, nice bit of space. Didn't want to do anything flashy. Like you said, he's not that kind of fighter, doing the basics really well. A lot of fighters on the prelim card, picking up their opponent and taking them all the way across the cage. This time Liam's like, I'm not going to mess around. I want to take him down and I'm going to go to work, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Feeding that lower half of Shadrack Yemba to the legs like he is, tying him, trying to tie him up. But Shadrack is getting in good frames and using again that slap to the ear just to disrupt Liam Schulze. 10 seconds left.
Yeah, good pressure from Liam this whole fight, though. He hasn't really given much space to Shadrack at all to work with. Really good round. I'm impressed with both lads. I mean, Liam just offensive, a nice lot of pressure, some really good clinch work, did it really well, didn't make himself vulnerable, didn't overextend himself. Neither fighter causing a lot of damage, but then it'll be difficult for Shadrack to do with that, considering he was defending the takedown pretty much the most of that first round. Don't forget the amateurs here, they're 3-minute rounds. But as we take a look at the action replay, certainly I think it was scores with Liam's favor. Looking very tidy, it was a nice right high roundhouse, but well blocked by Liam. Good wide open stances from both fighters. Bit of a stance switch there from Liam. Now he's driving that shoulder, and this is the takedown. I think Shadrack thinks twice about grabbing onto the fence. Did well not to do that. These guys are getting way more experience there. He's thinking about grabbing on, but let's go of it. But a nice takedown for Liam. Real no-nonsense fighter. And Bobby Carradine wants them back up their stools. Liam Schulze doesn't want to stall. He wants to carry on. Shadrack Yemba just bouncing, both fighters ready to rock for the second.
Look at the intensity in the eyes of Shadrack Yemba. I think he's very confident after that first round. I think that confidence is going to flow over to into the second round. Both of them laughing at each other.
Massive grin on his face, isn't it?
Ready to rumble.
And that's what we want. Cav is one of these fighters just loves to fight. You know, he knows he's up against a more experienced opponent. He took it knowing that the experience here at Versus is golden time inside the cage. And some good shots. Schulze is covering up. He's still got the guard. He's backtracking. Goes for the back. Good time takedown from Schulze, though. But nice sprawl from Shadrack to defend it. It's good decision making by Liam Schulze, who was under fire. That Shadrack Yemba was really starting to pile on the output in terms of his kickboxing, but really nice time takedown to get his opponent down to the ground by Liam.
This Khabib style of wrestling from Liam Schulze, also much harder if you have shin pads on. Getting your legs out after being trapped like that is a tall task, but Shadrack Yemba just super explosive from the start. Liam Schulze being the smarter fighter, not wanting any of that stand-up exchanges, rightfully so. So he took him down. I would want to see Shadrack get his back against the cage and use the cage to basically worm your way up and try and just get a knee out. If you get a knee out, you can move your hips, you can start using your head, but Liam Schulze just relentless on that tie.
Yeah,
pushing his head down.
Moved up higher, didn't he, with a figure of 4 leg wrap, which he had. I mean, I think we're just seeing the influence of Khabib Nurmagomedov and that leg wrapping style, the Dagestani style of leg wrapping, really entered not just global MMA, but here in South Africa as well. Yeah. And Schulze has done it really, really well. You were asking about, you know, Shadrack trying to get the knee out and see if he can try and escape it, but it is so difficult. Even with those shin pads, it is something that's very debilitating. Controlling everything that's going on underneath the waist and then using that head control to keep your opponent pinned down. Yes, it's nice to have a really hip move that's the current zeitgeist in global mixed martial arts, but it's a very different thing to do it well at these kind of amateur structures, and Schulze is doing it very impressively.
Getting back to the basics, just focusing on implementing the core structure of their whole program is Liam Schulze, and he's representing that under basically the umbrella of Kwon University. You can see their structures being implemented in this fight, and also it's super frustrating for someone like Shadrack. He wants to get back to his feet. He wants to have a stand-up exchange, but now the longer you're on your back, the more frustrated you get, the more emotional you get, the more tired you get.
Yeah.
It is literally like, it feels like you're drowning in there. And possibly going into the third round, you are going to have a more emotional fighter. With that, will you see the good effects of that, or will you see him get caught in that third round? Only time will tell. 15 seconds left in the second.
Talking over to his corner was Liam. Now goes into full mount. Really nice progression for that leg wrap to full mount, but a nice scramble from Shadrack to cause some problems. Going back to full mount on top control is Liam Schulze. A very strong round from him as well. Almost methodical in the way he processed the leg rack up the torso into full mount over the course of 2.5 minutes. Beautifully done.
That being said, you know, this style of fighting is exhausting. It's exhausting to try and keep your opponent down like that, keeping hip pressure, doing those isometric squeezes with your legs. It drains a lot of energy. You could see Shadrack just stand up like a bolt of lightning quickly. Liam, he stood up a little bit slower. You can see he's tired, but his workload is absolutely amazing. And I think that will reflect in the judges' scorecards. Shadrack just coming out in this action replay
Beautiful
with
strikes.
Just fury of shots. That spinning back kick might have been.
Yeah, it was a stumble, wasn't it? And he turned his back on his opponent. I've said so many times in the past, when you try your spinning attacks, where your finishing position is so important. Yeah. And he left himself vulnerable to Liam. He gave up his back essentially in the stand-up, but it was great fight IQ from Liam. He was under a lot of pressure with his punches. Shadrack was coming forward with a lot of output, but really picking his moment nicely for the takedown was Liam Schulze. Under a lot of pressure. Very impressive. Very cool and calm for an amateur to be doing that. Very impressed with him.
And just again, Shadrack with half the fights of Liam Schulze. It's absolutely amazing to see, like, check how locked in he is. Shadrack with those intense eyes. He thinks he can win this fight. I think he really does think that. Liam also possibly 2 rounds, are both of them are going to want to make good in this 3rd round.
That's a nice big right, followed up a spinning back. He's got the Komodo Dragon Bruce Lee kind of swagger in his face and his head movement to Shadrack, but you know, you're 2 rounds down. Do you need to be showboating? Coming in with a nice step and left cross. And that just gives his opponent an opportunity to reset and get the takedown, looking to wrap up that right leg of Shadrack is Liam. And Shadrack didn't want to be here. I mean, he's been down on the ground for 2 rounds. Liam's enacted a very nice patient game plan in terms of not, you know, letting his opponent dictate the pace from the distance, on the stand-up, timing the takedowns well, clinching up at the right times. Just a very professional, methodical approach from Liam Schulze. But you're right about Shadrack's spirit. It's indomitable, isn't it? You know, he's coming in against a far more experienced opponent, and he's still in this fight. And he certainly looked the real deal on the stand-up. There's a couple of things to fix there in terms of his defense off his back, perhaps, but Liam Schulze is very, very difficult in top control.
I would love to see more intensity from Shadrack's corner. Just really try and fire him up. Like, hit the cage if you have to, scream at him. Just get that fire under his belly just so that you can at least start moving his hips. If he can start doing that, create disruption, he might have a chance of getting out.
See, he's got his left leg on the right hip there of Liam, but he's not pushing up.
Yeah.
You know, he's not using many opportunities to frame up at the moment. He's just controlling the back of the neck once in a while. There's that little pity-patty slap just to try and see if he can put his opponent off his game, but really not doing enough to escape from this position. And Liam Schulze is just happy to work in guard. I mean, he can see out the rest of this round here by staying in the action. Bobby Carradine is happy. He's in a lot of action on the ground. Liam's getting a nice bunch of strikes off. But like you said, Shadrack needs to get a bit of fire in his belly to escape from this position and try to do something. Hunt for a submission. Look for those frame-ups. Create some space. See if you can turn the tide a little bit. See if you can dictate some, push some sweeps on. Get your foot on the inside. You know, push off the hip. Just a bit more action, you know, in terms of off your back. Because, you know, Liam Schulze will just continue to go to work. As I said, only 35 seconds left.
Yeah.
But that comes with timing. He's still just, you know, it's easy for us to say, for me to say, particularly sitting next to UFC bantamweight great. He's only had 4 amateur fights as Shadrack.
Yes.
You know, and he's not unswayed. Coming against a guy who has had 12 amateur fights, and Shadrack's still in it, and he's going to come to a decision. And there's something in that. There's something to say for the soul that's obviously within this guy, and he's got a lot of talent to be going forward and kicking on in his career.
Obviously, you do not want to lose a fight, but you have a lot of potential to work with here. You know that you can stand with some of the best in that division, and that must give you confidence coming into your next fight.
Yeah, and a big grin on Shadrack's face. It's almost as if he enjoyed that fight. And that's what you want to see, particularly at amateur. You know, 2 really good fighters with 2 very bright careers ahead of them, enjoying the actual fight they just said. Like you said, you don't want to lose the fight, but to actually put on a really cool performance and continue going right to the final bell. Well done to Shadrack Yemba, but a really impressive performance from Liam Schulze. Did all the basics so very well. Great timing. There's times in that fight where Shadrack really put him under a lot of pressure, but Liam really wasn't discombobulated. You know, he picked his timings well. He went for the shoot at the right times. Very, very impressive. And both guys have got really hell of a good careers ahead of them. The time when Shadrack was really defending a lot of the takedown attempts from Liam. And Liam changing levels, shooting forward. He got the shot, got the single, just driving that shoulder in up against the fence to finally get his opponent down to the canvas in that 3rd round. Beautiful display of grappling from the Quan Vessels lad. But I'd like to see a few holes fixed in Shadrack's ground game. We can work on his jiu-jitsu, work on some of the basics of his grappling, because in stand-up, he looked very stylish. You know, he put on a lot of power, coming forward, you know, wasn't cowed by the bright lights here in Pretoria or by his opponents, you know, significantly more experience. And yeah, he's got fire in his soul, has that young Yemba.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the judges for a decision. All 3 judges score this bout 30-27 declaring your winner by unanimous decision from the red corner, Liam Schulze.